Hello, and welcome to the Trumped Up Podcast. This is Season 2, Episode 5. It's called Not So Super Tuesday. I'm going to keep it a little brief this week because I know I can be a little long-winded sometimes. I'm calling it Not So Super Tuesday because old Michael Bloomberg, Mini Mike himself, spent like $1 billion to absolutely win zero. Nothing. Oh, he won American Samoa, which didn't get him anywhere, so I don't know what 100 delegates is dollar-wise per dollar out of $1 billion, but he definitely could have used this money much more wisely. He could have built houses for the homeless. He could have helped wounded warriors, donated money to the Shriners Hospital, St. Jude's, American Cancer Society, but no, he blatantly wasted $1 billion to get nowhere except dropping out and endorsing sleepy, creepy Joe Biden. What a joke his whole campaign was. He didn't even compete in the first 4 states, and then when he finally does, he did worse than pretty much everyone except Tulsi Gabbard's and maybe Pocahontas. But Pocahontas did much better than him with a lot less money, despite losing her home state, which it wasn't so super for her because she finished 3rd in her home state. The shocker of that is I'm really shocked that Bernie Sanders didn't take Massachusetts, or Maine for that matter. It also really wasn't a Super Tuesday for Bernie, because he totally got shellacked by Joe Biden. I don't know why people are voting for this guy when he's just, they call him a gaffe machine, but I really think it's something worse than just gaffes. Either he's starting to experience dementia, he's just not on the top of his game, he's not all there, he's having mental health problems, but he won 10 states. The downfall of him there is a lot of those states he won in Super Tuesday are states that Donald Trump won in 2016, and they're in the South. And in the general election, he's probably going to get shellacked because the conservatives and the guns rights people are going to go out, and the evangelicals are going to go out, and they're going to vote for Donald Trump. In the 2016 election, Trump had like 30% of Latinos, and a lot of those are in Florida and Texas, which are 2 states that are almost guaranteed to Donald Trump over Joe Biden, which that's even if Joe Biden secures the nomination still. Because despite winning all these states, delegates are rewarded proportionately, and Biden has slightly under maybe 80 delegate lead over Bernie, so Bernie could make a hell of a comeback, especially if Liz Warren gets out of the race, because Liz Warren totally is doing nothing but screwing Bernie. She's just taking votes away from him, and right before Super Tuesday, you had Mayor Pete and Amy Klobuchar both dropped out. They both endorsed Biden, and then good old Beto, and we're going to confiscate your guns, came back and endorsed Biden as well. So in the last 5 days, Biden's picked up 5 endorsements, as well as when he won South Carolina, he picked up Jim Clyburn's endorsement, which probably helped him seal the deal. What I don't get is to talk about Biden being good with the African-American community. But why is he winning all these African-American votes? Simply because he was vice president to the first African-American president in U.S. history? But that doesn't make him for you. That makes him the vice president to somebody else. And when he can, he tries to take and attach himself to Obama's accomplishments. But, Biden's been around since before we landed on the moon, even if you don't really believe that. But yeah, he's been in politics over 50 years. And if he had all these great ideas, well, he was vice president for 8 years, he could have told Obama, but he was also a senator for many, many years for the state of Delaware. So if you had all these great ideas, why didn't you implement them long before now? And then you take Bernie and Warren and these people that have been in the government for a long time, and Bernie and Elizabeth Warren, I think combined they've introduced 6 bills and never accomplished anything. And we all know in 3 years, Donald Trump is a list of accomplishments. You can go to whitehouse.gov and check out that list of accomplishments. It's drastic. I mean, criminal justice reform, record low Black, Hispanic, Asian, non-high school graduate unemployment. They're all at record lows. And he's done this in less than 3 years with zero political experience. Sure, he talked about running for a long time, but he never actually did until 2015-16, and then he destroyed one of the most qualified candidates ever in the history of American elections. And Joe Biden is nowhere as good of a candidate as Hillary was, despite her not being a very good candidate in my opinion. But qualification-wise, she was way better off than Joe Biden. So, if Hillary couldn't beat Donald Trump, with him having zero accomplishments at this point and no record, how the hell is Joe Biden ever going to beat Donald Trump with Trump's 3-year record and Biden's 50-year record of nothingness? I just can't picture this happening. Plus, incumbent presidents have a much easier path to get reelected. And delegate count in the Republican primary, Trump's already at like 800 and something delegates, and you only need 1,200 in the Republican primary, as opposed to the Democrat one where you need 1,990 something delegates. So it's likely that after next Tuesday, Donald Trump will be the Republican nominee for president, which we all knew anyway, even with 17 other clowns on the Republican primary ballot. And I seen something that was hilarious the other day, where combined, Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders had a combined vote total in the Texas primary of 1.2 million votes combined. Donald Trump had a turnout of 1.8 million votes in the Texas Republican primary. So that's another reason I think Donald Trump's going to be able to get reelected overwhelmingly, as well as having 8% African American support in the last election, which with the policies he's implemented, I'm thinking he's going to get between 13 and 15% of the African American vote, black vote, and then Democrats are done. That's all there is to it. There's only a few states I see in a general election that Joe Biden probably actually could win, like Virginia, because they're highly Democrat voters now, and that's not going to change. Well, we're going to take a little quick break here and get in a message from our sponsor, and we'll be right back. Hey, you too can join the podcasting world and be one of the greatest podcasters out there. Build an audience, get sponsorships, earn money, and do many, many interesting things. You can also get listener support to help sponsor your show, all by using Anchor. Anchor is the easiest way to become a podcaster. Anyone can do it. If you got something to say, or someone thinks you got something to say, or you just want to say something, come and join Anchor and join the podcasting revolution. Hello, and welcome back to the Trumped Up Podcast, Season 2, Episode 5, Not So Super Tuesday. Another reason I called the episode this is I just read a story on Facebook, article, whatever it was, Well, it wasn't actually. It was posted on Facebook, and you had to go somewhere else, obviously. And all this climate hysteria that the Democrats keep promoting are actually giving children nightmares and eating disorders, which is ridiculous. And now you can throw in the coronavirus, which is, I think, personally, way blown out of proportion. Don't get me wrong. It's a problem. It's spreading. We're getting more and more cases in America now. I believe we're up over 100. But the media likes to create a crisis because they never want the crisis to go to waste. They want you to live in fear. So you freak out and you're like, oh my God, there's going to be a pandemic. There's going to be an epidemic. Oh my God, the whole world's going to die. Sadly, that's not true. Some people will die. Some people have died. Most people who are healthy will fight this thing off. Many of them probably won't even know they have it. Chances are you're more likely to get killed in a car accident than you ever will from the coronavirus. And every 2 to 4 years, oddly, in an election year, we had SARS, we had MERS, we had Ebola, and all these viruses and diseases just happen to pop up in election years. Personally, I'm going to go into conspiracy theory land with the coronavirus. I did read things where people stole it from a Canadian laboratory and brought it to China. But personally, for myself, I think the Chinese were actually trying to develop chemical warfare tactics, and it went horribly wrong, and it's infected about 100,000 of their people. So I wouldn't hold anything over them. I mean, they do want to rule the entire world. That's their whole goal. If you don't believe that, I'm sure you can do your own research and figure it out. But yeah, they're just blowing these things out of proportion, want us to live in fear. I mean, and then this mass run on surgical masks, which won't protect you from this virus anyway. The point you can't get any of these. It would be more useful if you went out and bought some hand sanitizer, because washing your hands is the best bet. Not making unnecessary contact with other human beings, and stay away from people that seem to be sick. And then you people that actually have this virus, or even the flu or the common cold, you should self-quarantine yourself. I don't get why these sick people just decide to go out and get everybody else sick. I mean, take a couple days off of work, get a doctor's note, whatever you have to do, but please stop infecting other people. It's not right. So I'm about out of things to talk about this week, pretty much. So I should be back next week with another episode. Had to make sure to get one in here. This is the Trumped Up Podcast. I'm your host, Keith Rao, and I am out.